The Pokemon franchise has been a favorite for gamers of all ages since the first title was released in 1998. 98? Oh man, I'm old. The Pokemon universe encompasses not only video games, but television shows, movies, and mangas as well. With such a vast universe, there are bound to be some unresolved storylines and plot holes begging to be resolved by the developers. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to TheGamer and ring that bell to stay up to date with all things gaming. Without further ado, here are 10 unresolved mysteries and plot holes Pokemon left hanging. Pokemon G-Men. Lance is an important and often reoccurring character in the Pokemon universe. In Pokemon Red and Blue, he was the leader of the Elite Four. From there, he went on to become the champion in Pokemon Gold and Silver. Of course, in the manga, he's responsible for the mass killing of innocent civilians in a well-intentioned but poorly executed attempt to rid the world of Pokemon abusers. Well, his heart was in the right place, even if his head wasn't. In the animated series, Lance is a reoccurring character to the point where he appears in several episodes. As with any decent character in the Pokemon universe, Lance wondered what Team Rocket was up to, especially when it came to their interest in the Lake of Rage. This, of course, is nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to Team Rocket and the Pokemon universe. However, Lance explains that he is a member of a secret group known as the G-Men, who are tasked with dealing with people who mistreat Pokemon. However, this appears to be the first mention of the G-Men. Since Lance is a member of the group, who else is an agent tasked with protecting Pokemon? How do they protect Pokemon? And are they still operating in the Pokemon universe? It sounds like an interesting, unexplored storyline which fans would love to know more about. Mewtwo's origin. The origin story of Mewtwo was covered in the first Pokemon movie. After being grief-stricken over the loss of his daughter, a scientist attempted to pull a Frankenstein in order to bring his daughter back from beyond the grave. How he intended on achieving that through Pokemon is beyond us, but he did manage to pull off a few experiments. We're not certain how successful all of these experiments were, but allegedly Mewtwo is the most successful result, so all in all, not very successful if the intent was to bring his daughter back to life. Anyway, as with everything in the Pokemon universe, Mewtwo is also present in the video games as well. Most notably, Mewtwo gets some screen time in Pokemon Red and Blue in the form of a mystery surrounding its origins. Outsiders to the franchise fandom would think the storyline is the same from movie to video game, but it's not always the case. In Pokemon Red and Blue, Mewtwo's origin story is a little bit different from the movie storyline. Players can poke around the Pokemon Mansion of Cinnabar Island. There they will find scientific logs stating that Mewtwo was born to a pregnant Mew. While in utero, the Mew embryo was tampered with in order to alter its DNA. It was there in the Pokemon Mansion where scientists performed horrific experiments on Mewtwo until it finally managed to escape. So what really happened? We would love to know. Sounds like a great Pokemon horror story. Ghost Girl. For the most part, the Pokemon series is intended for children. Alright, so the various double entendres and Brock jokes aside, there are relatively few occurrences in the series which could potentially scar children for life. With turn-based combat, every battle is somewhat kid-friendly, especially when considering the fact that the most damage taken can be resolved with some generous TLC from Nurse Joy. Okay, so we won't cover the implication of mad science in the franchise, cosmic horrors, and essentially abandoned children trouncing around the world in search of, for the most part, adorable little monsters. With a little suspension of disbelief, the entire franchise is pretty kid-friendly. Then there's the unexplained ghost girl of Lumio City. If players enter a certain building in Lumio City, they could take the elevator to another floor and trigger an event. The lights will flicker, the music will stop, and a ghost girl will emerge from behind the player. The ghost girl will say, "No, you're not the one," to the player before disappearing. The ghost girl also appears in another building in what appears to be a bedroom on the 4th floor. When approached, she states, "Don't talk to me. If you do, I won't hear the elevator." When developers were confronted about the character, their only reply was, "We didn't put anything like that in the game." Who is Ghost Girl? And who is she looking for? Is she in the room with me right now? Curryway Town. In Pokemon Gold and Silver, players could return to Kanto and explore the region. With all of the available Pokemon today, it would make sense for players to be able to travel around different regions in order to capture all the Pokemon they possibly can. This is something fans have been interested in for some time, and with the release of Pokemon X and Y, fans hoped they would finally be able to travel between regions once again. Unfortunately, this was not the case, and fans were somewhat disappointed with the lack of travel in the game. Even worse, there is a train station located in Curryway Town. A train station typically means players can travel in-game to other regions or locations. Animal Crossing, for example, often made use of train stations so players could travel from one city to another. The weirdest part about the Curryway Town train station isn't the fact that players can't travel out of the region. No, the strangest part is, as a train station, it's completely devoid of trains and any travel-related activity. Perhaps the developers intended to include travel to other regions, but for some reason or another, they could not. Maybe they wanted the train station to be nothing more than a decoration. However, a train station without trains is less decorative and more creepy than anything else. Ghost trains. Glitch Pokemon. Alright, so most fans of the franchise are already aware of the notorious glitch Pokemon, also known as Missingno. In Pokemon Red and Blue, players could come across a bird/normal type Pokemon called Missingno. It appeared as an L-shaped glitched out box on screen. Given the name and the appearance, most people would consider this glitch Pokemon, well, a glitch. However, the appearance of glitch Pokemon continues throughout several titles. The glitch Pokemon even take on the form of a fossil Kabutops, a fossil Aerodactyl, and even a ghost. It would be pretty strange for a glitch to continue throughout a series all on its own. This simple fact often leads fans to believe it's an intentional yet secret Pokemon added to the game by the developers. Oddly, the developers claim no such thing. Nintendo has even made an official statement on their website in reference to Missingno, which states, "Missingno is a programming quirk and not a real part of the game. When you get this, your game can perform strangely, and the graphics will often become scrambled." Nintendo then goes on to tell players that, in order to fix their game, they must release Missingno and delete their game. According to Bulbapedia, this is the incorrect way to deal with graphical issues. So what precisely is going on with Missingno, and why does Nintendo want players to delete their game? I smell a conspiracy. Azure Flute. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl saw the introduction of Arceus, the god of the Pokemon universe. He's kind of the god of everything though, since he did create the universe, humans included. Arceus was distributed throughout events by Game Freak directly, but as it turns out there was supposed to be a whole lot more surrounding the appearance of Arceus in these games. In the files of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, there's an item called the Azure Flute. Allegedly, players are supposed to be able to play this flute on the Spear Pillar. Doing so would allow players to ascend into the heavens in order to challenge Arceus to a battle. Unfortunately, the Azure Flute was never officially released, so it goes unused, meaning players can't ascend to battle Arceus, which is somewhat disappointing. It isn't every day Pokemon trainers get to challenge a Pokemon god. Now, the official reasoning behind not releasing the Azure Flute was because it was too complicated, according to Junichi Masuda. We're pretty sure Pokemon players would have been able to figure it out. This is especially true considering that the Celebi event in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver was a far more complicated venture, which included battling Giovanni after going back in time. Maybe the developers thought fighting a god simply went too far. What would happen if the god lost? Vermilion City Truck. There are always strange elements in nearly every video game which don't make sense to the player. Typically, these are design elements which are simply there for decoration and nothing more. However, when gamers are used to scouring the environment and utilizing everything they find, it's difficult for them to imagine the one decoration is simply a decoration for decorative purposes only. Vermilion City holds one such object. There, players will find the SS Anne, which is a large luxury ship where players will battle their rival and achieve HM01 cut. The ship itself is nothing special, as it's not necessary to the plot, nor do players have to visit the ship in order to get through the game. However, they'll have to find another way to get to the hidden machine if they don't get it on the SS Anne. If players go back after getting the HM, they can explore the harbor if they so choose. On the docks, they will find a truck which doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary, but there's no other trucks like it in the game. What is a lone truck doing out on the docks? Since the discovery of the truck, players have passed down many rumors regarding its mysterious origins and purpose. Perhaps the most famous one is the truck contained a Mew, which could be obtained after catching all 150 Pokemon. Sadly, this rumor is untrue and no one really knows the purpose of the truck. Professor Oak. Every Pokemon fan is more than familiar with Professor Samuel Oak. No joke, Samuel is his first name. After all, he's the man everyone needs to see in order to further their Pokemon training career path, and of course, he gives out a free starter Pokemon. What else could a Pokemon trainer in training ask for? However, not much else is known about Professor Oak other than the fact that he studies Pokemon. He does have a lab and assistants, but where does his funding come from? Surely running a lab and obtaining Pokemon isn't a cheap venture for anyone to undertake, let alone a professor. Perhaps Professor Oak is a multi-millionaire with a lot of time and money on his hands who also happens to have an obsession with studying Pokemon. It wouldn't be the first time a multi-millionaire did whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. He did invent the Pokédex after all, patent pending. What exactly makes him and every other Pokemon in the Pokemon universe a professor? Are they actual professors? Is there some sort of Pokemon university in an unexplored region where those interested in Pokemon can get a Pokemon research and education degree? Although Professor Oak has reached celebrity status in a few of the Pokemon games, not much is known about his origin, and players may never find out more about this mysterious yet generous professor. TM and HM mechanics. For those unfamiliar with the Pokemon franchise, there are objects known as TMs, or technical machines, machines, which are used to teach Pokemon new moves. These TMs teach Pokemon moves which they might not be able to learn otherwise. And one-use items. HMs, or hidden machines, can be used an infinite amount of times, but require a move deleter for a Pokemon to forget the move. Players can usually find these items on the ground, buy them in department stores, and some are even given away by gym leaders, depending on the game. There is some mystery surrounding TMs and HMs, however. The appearance of TMs and HMs varies from game to game. In the Pokemon card game, they're shown to be small machines. However, in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, there are no descriptions of how TMs and HMs look or work. Yet, in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, and onwards, technical machines and hidden machines are depicted as discs. It pretty much goes without saying there's no consistency when it comes to what TMs and HMs look like. Then there's the matter of how technical machines and hidden machines actually work. Discs are typically meant for some type of device, whether it's a computer or a CD player. As far as players know, Pokemon do not come equipped with disc drives, so how exactly do Pokemon learn new moves from these discs? We would come to assume they watch them, or maybe the Pokemon get to play their own version of a video game which teaches them their new moves. Ash's father. One thing is for certain, biologically, Ash Ketchum does have a father. Unless, of course, his mother Delia Ketchum birthed him straight from her own forehead like some new twist on an old Greek myth, which is highly unlikely. For Ash to exist, someone had to have had sired him, and more importantly, his mother does mention his father and grandfather on occasion, so we do know there was a father in the picture at one point. So who is Ash's father? Some fans have entertained the idea that it could be Professor Oak, since Delia and the professor do spend an awful lot of time together, which, at times, is almost uncomfortable. Perhaps they're just old friends though. Another contender for Ash's dad is Silver, a man who Richie encountered who was on a similar journey as Ash, and had also heard of him. Seeing as how no one has mentioned Ash's dad by name, Silver is a definite possibility. In fact, when Delia mentions Ash's father, she often says he is on his own journey to become a Pokemon master. Oh, what a responsible father. Most dads who have missed their own glory days stick around to live vicariously through their children, which causes enough resentment to start the cycle all over again. One thing's for certain, we're pretty sure Pokemon training doesn't generate enough income to pay an appropriate amount of child support. Which Pokemon plot holes have always bothered you? Are there any Pokemon mysteries you want answers to? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer so you can keep up with all our videos. Thanks for watching.